Hello and welcome back. We're going to be speaking today a little bit more about temperament and empathy. Understand that temperament is something that is produced, like emotional intelligence as a whole, by nature and nurture. It is something that you're born with, and it's fascinating to see how that emerges very early in a child's development. I've been watching my grandchildren, for example, and it's wonderful to notice how different each of them is and how much of what they've inherited from their parents comes through. Whereas one is very similar to the mother, the other one is similar in style and even the way he walks to his father. There are ways in which we inherit different traits and features. On the other hand, we learn a whole lot more through the way that our parents raise us, their training, their correcting, their channeling our energies in good ways, or maybe not so good. Empathy is something that is similar in that we have some traits that are inherited, some ways of being that seemingly are simply a matter of the way you are. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, for example. Whether you speak loud or keep your thoughts to yourself. But in addition to that, character is forming. And I believe that empathy is more a matter of your character than it is of your temperament. It's not something that you're primarily left with as a result of your DNA. I believe that it has a lot to do with how you are raised, with how you interact with others, how much you're given to others in order to interact with them. The last time we looked at the 4 social styles discovered by taking the Wilson Learning Social Styles Analysis, and saw how we need to appreciate, as well as our own unique style, the fact that others in the room also have their unique style. To consider the other person is the beginning of empathy. To do, as the Apostle Paul called it, the practice of looking into the interests of others. When we did the MBTI measurement instrument, I suggested that you do that in a detailed format. It gave you something different. It spoke about these 4 factors: the preferred context of extrovert or introvert, data gathering, which is sensing or intuition, decision making, which is by thinking your way into decisions or feeling your way into them, and your way of doing business or actually applying what you have decided, whether it is according to your judgment or according to your perception of what's going on. Do you take time to think about and feel into a decision and an application of that decision, or do you just simply go ahead on the basis of your quick ability to sum things up? I want us now to just look a little more at those 4 temperaments, particularly in the context of how do they affect empathy. The SJ, we said last time, is the realistic achiever, the catalyst, the innovator, the action people, the by-when people. They're results orientated. And the problem with people like that with regard to empathy is the focus is on the task rather than the people concerned. And so they need to, again, be encouraged into a place where they will stop and think about people in the room. If that's you, if you're one of those SJs, then let me just encourage you, as part of your activity of self-awareness as you walk into any social setting, into any relationship, is to dial down your task focus and to listen for the influences and the words and the actions of the people. So Don't allow yourself to make people subordinate to the task. Don't allow yourself to forget the personal circumstances of those with whom they work. Studies in the recent past have shown that people and businesses will rise and fall on the basis of their emotional intelligence, their awareness of others, their awareness of the emotional tone that is going on in the company. Whether people feel cared for is more important than whether people feel as though they are well trained for the task that they're trying to fulfill. And so people can very often make the group look good because of its results, but will often leave a wreckage, a line of wreckage of people, individuals, wounded and dying in their wake. So don't let that be you. Be focused on empathy. Look into the interests of others. Similar thing has to do with the SP, the sensual entertainer, the person who is playful, flexible, insightful, spontaneous, future-orientated, entertaining. It's wonderful to have those kinds of people in the room. They wake it all up. They give us a sense of there's a party happening. They raise the bar of optimism and hope and joy in the room and in the occasion. They play to the gallery, and they can do that again at the expense of the individuals in it. The sensual entertainer will attract people right into the center, into the place where the fire is hottest. But there will be some who are more introverted and who will stay on the margins. And that's why for the sensual entertainer, it is important to raise your eyes from the fire itself to the margins of the room, to those who are not even feeling the warmth of the fire because they're not used to that, or they're embarrassed, or they're reticent, or they've been injured in some ways by trying to do that in the past. They have been rejected. They've been insulted. And so our role, if that's you, our role is to just raise our eyes, become aware, and go to the margins. The NT, or the thinking organizer, this is the person I spoke about as the bean counter, the accountant type personality. She or he responds to ideas and information. They will bring security to groups by bringing understanding, conceptual clarity. But even the way they will say all of that will very often be dry and insensitive to the feelings of others. One of the series I watch on television is called NCIS, and it is the series about these investigators and kind of people, frontline security individuals who deal with either terrorism or crime in their city. There is a character in the team who is the dry, insensitive, dealing with facts, over factual, over detailed individual. And it is always humorous to see how the others say, okay, get to the point, because he or she wants to fill in all the details. The classic absent-minded professor. And again, that has these implications for empathy. Facts before feelings can become truth without grace. It can become informational is enough. And the reality is, information is not what drives other people necessarily. Information is just what you know and you try to make them aware of. Whereas really what they want to know is that they're cared for, that their opinion also matters. You can dazzle people with science. You can silence them with science. And this again is something that manifests itself in different cultures in very different ways. I have a friend in the country of Kenya, and I worked with him for years in terms of raising leaders into the organization that we were busy building. And he spoke to me about this fact. He said, the way that the African mindset, the African culture will work is that it will listen for a long time before it expresses itself. And as soon as you speak as a person that is seen to be the one who knows, the one who is bringing the information to us, as soon as you speak, the others will be silent. They will not even give the beginning of an impression that they are contradicting you. And so they will stop speaking. And so we, as people coming in from other countries and perhaps with the monopoly on the information that was necessary, the way the organization was going to work, we were the ones who needed to come in and be silent and sit and learn. He said to me, Costa, when you come, for 3 days, don't speak. For 3 days, just interact, just listen. Invite people to speak by asking questions, but don't give your opinion for 3 days. And then I'll tell you when it's right, when the time is there to say, now this is how we have found it, or this is what we think about this or that. Because as soon as you speak, they will stop speaking. And so we need to understand that that is sometimes something that happens in microcosm at a dinner party, at some occasion, when someone will be bringing a whole lot of information and others will just not speak because they don't want to sound as though they're stupid. And so don't put people second to facts. Don't put truth ahead of grace. Be open to the people themselves. The NF, or the sensitive carer, is the one who has the best chance of empathy. They're most naturally attuned to empathy. They are the people who will always be looking for the connection with others. They want to make everyone feel good. They want harmony in the system. And they will extend themselves very easily into other people's world. Their problem is that sometimes empathy will become confused with codependency, where they will take responsibility back from people. The difference between codependency and empathy is that very simple fact. Who is taking control in the situation? Am I giving away control to others because that's codependency? Or am I retaining my own sense of inner strength, my own sense of self-awareness and understanding, and using that to engage with others, inviting them into a world of common feeling? So, if you're one of those sensitive, caring people, think about ways in which you can engage across the boundaries with others in a way that is not sacrificing your measure of self-awareness. You're not giving yourself away, but rather you are engaging others into your world of warmth. And so what do these findings say about your ability to show empathy? What strengths does it reveal? And how can you use them to engage with others in a more meaningful way? And how can you tame your own dragon so that you can become free to make yourself a person of change, a person of influence in the world out there? The reality is we need people to become empathetic. We need a kinder world. We need a place where people can feel they belong, they matter, they are seen, they are heard, and as a result, everyone is built into a place where I am because we are. And so, until next time, cheers.